People called him the most heartbroken cat on the web. This tiny, weak cat had been abandoned by animal shelters, but a loving couple chose to take him home for what they believed would be his last few days. They never expected that just 1 hour after getting him home, they would witness something amazing. In April 2016, someone discovered an orange-striped cat in Vancouver's poorest downtown area. They eventually called him Benjamin Button, or Ben for short. He wasn't the first animal saved from this place, and he wouldn't be the last. Vancouver's downtown east side is one of Canada's most struggling neighborhoods. Unfortunately, stray animals like Ben often die from hunger or sickness because of the horrible living conditions there. When an animal control worker finally found the cat, Ben's state wasn't just poor, it was terrible. He was barely alive. One quick glance showed how serious things were. Leaving Ben behind would have killed him for sure, and that couldn't happen. The officer immediately grabbed him and ran to the only place possible, the Vancouver Animal Emergency and Referral Center. A group of experts quickly started working on the orange kitten, trying their best to understand and heal all his serious injuries. That's when they found out just how terrible Ben's condition truly was. Even though he was less than a year old, he had already suffered through the worst life could give him. He was starving to death. His back was badly broken and bent, making it impossible for him to move. Multiple bones in his neck had grown together, preventing him from turning his head normally. He had deep cuts and gashes that were severely infected, proving he'd been hurt by a big animal. The team also discovered a serious ear mite infection. Ben had clawed his ear so much that it was now twisted from scars, creating his unique damaged ear. They gave him IV medicine and cleaned his wounds, but the team could only try to keep him comfortable in his condition. The following morning, Ben was taken to the BCS-PCA hospital. Workers there kept watching and caring for him for the next 10 days. During this period, many people wanted to adopt him, but they all changed their minds when they found out about his expensive medical care needs. Once, a family actually took Ben home, but quickly returned him to the shelter for these exact reasons. After he came back, the shelter ruled he couldn't be adopted. The doctors treating him said he'd never walk again and would need pain medication his whole life. His life was already getting harder, and they didn't have enough money to keep helping him long term. Even though it hurt them deeply, the shelter decided to end his life. Ben was set to be put down on May 1st, 2016, before he even turned 1 year old. Hospital workers said that Ben had completely lost hope. It seemed like he understood his time was running out. In a heartbreaking giving up to sadness, he had stopped eating and drinking completely, his body failing as his soul pulled away from a world that had only been cruel to him. What little movement he used to have was now gone. It was only a question of when Ben's tragic end would come true. The danger of being put to sleep hung like a heavy cloud over the kitten's weak life. With every moment that passed, his hopelessness got stronger. But right when everything seemed hopeless, luck came through a veterinary worker named Sandy Windover. Her choice to care for Ben would totally transform his life story. Sandy was experienced with adoption, especially cats with special problems. She had spent her life helping animals through her schooling, training, and years of work. Working at the Vancouver Animal Emergency and Referral Center, she had handled many cases, each with its own difficulties and sadness. But nothing could have readied her for how serious and emotionally powerful Ben's situation was. When Ben arrived at her emergency clinic, one look at the striped cat's face was enough to break Sandy's heart. Right away, she knew this would be more than just another patient. She went home and told her boyfriend, now husband Adam Tutt, about the cat who had captured her heart. All I could think was that I had to take him home, she said. After Ben was moved to the animal hospital, she couldn't stop herself from checking on his health and adoption chances. When Sandy found out about the planned death, she saw it as a message. Adopting Ben became something she absolutely had to do. Running to the SPCA less than 24 hours before the scheduled killing, the couple heard warnings about Ben's awful condition. But they were set on giving him another chance at life, no matter what problems or expenses they might face. We chose to adopt him because he's just a baby, and we think, even if animals are hurt or not normal, they deserve another chance and a loving home, Sandy explained. That same day, despite doubts but powered by hope, they managed to complete everything and took Ben home. They carefully placed him in their bathroom, letting him get used to their other 2 cats who would soon become his family. They had no clue that in just 1 hour, everything would change in ways they never could have dreamed. Even with his injuries, permanent inability to walk, bone infection, and ongoing pain, Ben was immediately full of purring, smiles, and snuggles. For the first time in his short life, he was home, finally safe with loving caretakers who already shared their hearts with 2 other cats. We sat with him for about an hour, and he was immediately full of purrs, smiles, and thank you snuggles, Sandy remembered. Ben is like the little brother. He wants to play and chase them. It became obvious that Ben was just as determined as his owners to get well. But no one, not Sandy, not Adam, not the doctors who had given up on him, could have been ready for what happened next. The change didn't happen right away. At first, the difference was heartbreaking. This was the same cat who had barely moved at the shelter, who wouldn't eat or drink, who had given up so completely that workers said it was almost, as if he knew he was going to die and had just lost all hope. His spine had been crushed in 5 or 6 spots. Every medical expert had said with certainty he would never walk again. But just a few days after arriving, the impossible started to happen. When they first took him home, he could barely take a few steps without needing to rest or falling down. Yet something deep inside Ben refused to give up. Then came the moment that would forever be burned into Sandy and Adam's memories, the first time they saw real improvement. In a moment of pure willpower, the paralyzed kitten took his first real steps. The quiet in the room was overwhelming as they watched in amazement. Sorry for the interruption. Before we continue with the story, I kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to this channel. It is very important for us. Thank you very much. At the beginning, his walking was awkward, unsteady and shaking, but he kept going anyway. His small body shook from the huge effort. Every step like he was fighting against impossible odds. Because his back was hurt, Ben walked more like he was wobbling, but his new parents watched in amazement, seeing what they could only call a miracle happening right in front of them. The doctor said he'd never walk again, but there he was, working hard to prove them all wrong. Adam said quietly, his voice full of feeling. But Ben wasn't done surprising everyone. Little by little, he started walking farther and then, unbelievably shocking everyone completely, Ben even managed a few little hops too. It wasn't long before he knew he was safe, Adam remembered. Then we got purrs, licks, and gentle head bumps. Everything felt frozen as Sandy and Adam stood still, crying, watching Ben, hurt but not defeated, beaten up but still fighting, slowly start doing better than anyone thought possible and proving every animal hospital worker wrong. In that special moment, they weren't just watching a cat learn to walk. They were seeing hope come to life, one shaky, determined step after another. But getting better wasn't going to be simple. The truth of taking care of Ben became clear right away. He needed 4 different liquid medicines, including strong painkillers, that all had to be given by mouth twice every day, Adam remembered. Every morning and night turned into a careful routine of giving medicines. Each one needed to help with his terrible pain. Even simple things became huge problems. He couldn't use our regular litter box because it was too high, and he would often fall down or sit right in his mess. So we had to clean up a lot. We had to get a shorter litter box, and even then we had to cut most of it away just so he could get to it easier, Adam said. Every part of normal cat life had to be changed for their hurt boy. But every day, through all the medicines and the mess, through all the falls and hard times, something amazing was happening. Ben was getting stronger, happier, and more excited about living. While he was getting better, there were nights when Sandy and Adam would sit next to Ben, talking softly to him. They'd stroke his orange fur, feeling his purring get stronger every day. For months, they covered their apartment with exercise mats to help the striped cat move around and heal. We had to cover our home with exercise mats so he could walk without falling down, Sandy said. Ben's story became proof of what can happen when you never give up. Their home was filled with the sounds of small wins. His daily life became a bunch of tiny victories. Every step, no matter how shaky, was his way of fighting back against the bad odds. Amazed by how well he was doing, Sandy and Adam kept giving him constant support. The once weak orange cat became a symbol of hope, showing that even when facing impossible problems, a strong spirit could change what seemed like destiny. As weeks went by, Sandy and Adam saw a miracle. The couple had never met a cat as tough and determined as Ben. In just a few months, the once paralyzed kitten was walking longer distances, playing with his cat brothers and sisters and showing amazing balance on his feet. But the most amazing moment was still coming. The day Sandy and Adam first saw Ben run will always be stuck in their minds. After months of careful steps and cautious wobbles, Ben suddenly started what could only be called running. Though, like everything about his recovery, it was different from what you'd expect. When he runs, you can see him wobble like an old cat, Sandy would later say with amazement in her voice. That's actually why we named him Ben. Because he's like Benjamin Button, an old cat's walk in a young kitten's body. But there he was, this supposedly unadoptable cat with a crushed back. Not just running, but showing pure happiness in movement. His way of moving was unsteady, his style wasn't perfect, but his spirit couldn't be stopped. And then, in a moment that left Sandy and Adam without words, Ben threw himself into the air. He was jumping short distances. The same kitten that doctors said would never walk was now running and jumping with the determination of someone who had faced death and picked life instead. By the end of the year, the saddest cat on the internet had become a bundle of happiness. Ben could not just walk, but run and even jump short distances. As Ben got stronger, his playful side grew too. There were mornings filled with the happy noise of cat toys rolling around the floor. Ben's once still body was now bouncing around with fresh energy. Sandy and Adam would smile watching him chase feather toys and stuffed mice, his determination showing in every playful jump. But it was his friendship with Adam that really touched hearts. Ben loves Adam. He snuggles with him and plays and follows him around like a dog. Sandy watched with wonder. The bond between the hurt cat and the man who saved him had become unbreakable. He was always playful and looking for the next chance to steal a few kisses or, even better, a few snacks. One of his favorite things was something totally unexpected: truck rides. He absolutely loves going for drives. He falls asleep and purrs and looks out the window at everything. Sandy was amazed at how this once dying cat now loved every moment of life. No one who knew him before could believe his progress and change. These successes made Ben a popular internet star. People still know him by his sad face bent ear and droopy eyes, but underneath he is the happiest, most well-fed kitty in the world. With Ben Ben's incredible change story needing to be told, Adam made an important choice. He posted side-by-side before and after pictures of the tough orange cat on Reddit, photos that showed the amazing journey from near death to full of life. To his complete surprise, the post went viral across the internet. The world didn't just notice, they were fascinated. Ben Ben quickly got more than 38,000 followers on Instagram and over 11,000 fans on Facebook. He even got his own section on Reddit, where thousands more followed everything he did. "We thought he might get a little attention, but we didn't expect this," Adam said, shocked by what happened next. The world had fallen in love with Ben Ben's story of change, from a treat-eating, tablet game-playing, night-walk-loving house cat who proved that miracles really do happen. Ben Ben may have had to get through long treatment for his bone infection and will need strong painkillers for the rest of his life for his crushed back, but his recovery has surprised and inspired everyone he's met. Sandy and Adam haven't just sat back with Ben Ben's new internet fame. Instead, they started raising money for other struggling stray animals that need help. Their online fundraising campaign has raised over $11,400, money that goes straight to helping cats just like Ben Ben who need another chance. Unfortunately, the animal shelter doesn't have much money to help strays that come through their doors, so we thought we could help other cats just like Ben Ben, Sandy said. What caused Ben Ben's terrible injuries is still unknown. The idea is that he was hurt by a bigger animal, possibly a dog. Still, whatever the cause, it's what happened next that has touched and moved thousands of people around the world. But against all chances, today Benjamin, now 8 years old, has not only survived his troubles but is enjoying life again. He spends his free time eating cheese, watching TV, and living as happily as possible. Sandy and Adam have used Ben Ben's new fame to speak out against hurting animals and raise money for other shelter animals that need help. The couple hopes that Ben Ben's story will inspire people to choose adoption and serve as a living reminder that a second chance can bring a lifetime of love and happiness. Ben Ben's touching story is a heartwarming reminder that love can truly win over everything, and proof that we can all start over if we're just given a second chance to shine. Did you like this story? If you came across a badly injured cat that everyone believed would never walk again, would you still choose to take him home? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up. Sometimes love can achieve what medicine cannot. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Wishing you a wonderful day.